Uruguay won football gold at the 1928 Olympics, no football was played at the 1932 Olympics, and Italy won Olympic football gold in 1936. Wait, did you catch that? No football was played at the 1932 Olympics. To this day, the 1932 Summer Olympics is the only edition without a football tournament since the introduction of the sport at the 1900 Paris Games. Who would have thought America doesn't want to organize a soccer competition? I can't even say that word as a joke. Football being unpopular in the US was only a minor factor leading to the sport being absent from the 1932 games. But I'm gonna tell you all the reasons, and how the entire tournament could have played out if it was staged. Olympic football tournaments took place in both 1900 and 1904, but they weren't supervised and recognized by FIFA until 1908. The IOC didn't allow professional players, and 6 years later, FIFA accepted the Olympic football competition as a world championship for amateurs. However, the 1924 and 1928 tournaments complied with FIFA regulations and are fully recognized as actual world championships. That's why Uruguay has 4-star on their crest. The competitions were massively successful and inspired FIFA to create the World Cup, which allowed professional players, of course, while Olympics only allowed amateurs and didn't represent the true strength of national football teams. FIFA's and the IOC's different philosophies surrounding amateurism, combined with the former's ambition to promote their new World Cup, led to football being absent from the 1932 LA Games. And as previously mentioned, the sport being unpopular in America didn't exactly help. To make matters worse, due to the Great Depression, fewer nations competed at the 1932 Olympics than at the 2 previous games. This would have affected the football competition too. But what would have had to happen for the tournament to even take place to begin with? Football returned to the 1936 Berlin Games, since the German organizers didn't want to miss out on the event that got the largest crowds, and because FIFA and the IOC reached a compromise regarding amateurism. So let's say this agreement is reached sooner, and that the Americans care slightly more about football in this timeline. When it comes to participation in the tournament, America's inclusion is a no-brainer despite their disinterest in football, since they're hosts. Countries that sent few or no athletes to the 1932 Olympics can be instantly disregarded. But over 20 eligible candidates are still plenty to consider. As there's no restrictions on amateurs entering, countries without professional leagues are generally more likely to enter, since they'd be able to send full-strength teams. However, since FIFA's and the IOC's amateurism compromise is made in time for the tournament in this timeline, some countries with professional leagues would definitely enter too. A nation's stance on so-called broken time payments are also taken into account. Finally, if a nation played football at the 1928 and or 1936 Olympics, they're more likely to enter this tournament. Also, note that there are freak cases and other specific intricacies I've considered, but going over all of them would make this video way too long and, to be blunt, boring. Taking these factors into account, the following nations could have plausibly participated. There were also some nations that missed out by the skin of their teeth for various reasons, despite fulfilling most of the criteria. If you have any questions regarding why a nation was or wasn't accepted, please ask in the comments section. I literally listed every country that participated at the 1932 Olympics and assessed their eligibility one by one. In total, there are 12 participants, which is an awkward number for a straight knockout tournament. But it wouldn't be the first time the Olympics have to deal with something like that. And there's a bracket for everything. If you could somehow access Wikipedia in 1932, right before the tournament began, you would have seen this. Now let's see who would have won the Olympic football gold of 1932, starting with the first round. The first round first. That kinda makes sense actually. Belgium defeated Poland with relative ease, while Germany decimated their future allies Japan, who lacked experience at this level. The Netherlands were the total opposite, playing at an unparalleled 6th consecutive Olympic football tournament. France put up a decent fight, but lost. Host United States got off to a blistering start in their first ever encounter with neighbors Mexico. That feels counterintuitive, kinda crazy they never faced each other before. Anyways, time for the quarterfinals. Argentina was far from full strength due to the turbulence their FA was going through, but that didn't stop them from edging out Belgium in an entertaining affair. That exact scoreline was replicated as Germany beat Hungary, getting revenge for their loss at the Olympics 20 years earlier. Italy unexpectedly needed extra time to get past a resilient Dutch team. Austria's triumph over the Americans was much more straightforward. Only 4 nations left. Who will get the gold? Well, not Argentina, as Germany capitalized on the South Americans' weakened team in a thrilling game. Austria and Italy proved evenly matched in the Central European International Cup, and these Olympics were no different. Nothing separated them, as they both got on the scoresheet once. In the rematch, Italy successfully defended their fragile lead to reach the final. Austria were one of the best teams in Europe, and too much to handle for this divided Argentina, who lost out on bronze. Italy had snuck to the final. Once there, they had an additional gear that enabled them to defeat Germany and secure the title. We now know who would have won the Olympic football gold in 1932. But who would have won this tournament? Special thanks to Mildtryth on the alternate history forums for helping out with research.